Hello, I'm Bill Honachevsky, and welcome to What About New Jersey History. In February of 1846, a wicked nor'easter accompanied by snow and freezing weather hit the New Jersey coast and sealed the fate of the John Minturn. The wreck of the John Minturn off Maniloking was a tale of tragedy but also heroism. The shipwreck spurred the creation of the United States Life-Saving Service. The Minturne's sails were badly ripped and the ship was in danger of sinking as the captain heroically attempted to beach it, but struck a sandbar 300 yards offshore, and despite many hours of rescue efforts and several successful attempts, over 30 lives were lost, including those of the captain, his wife, and their 2 children. Charges that local lifesavers had looted the bodies and the cargo were found to be untrue by a special commission created by the state of New Jersey. In fact, the commission praised the courage of the local populace. According to Point Pleasant Historical Society records, Uncle Tommy Cook, 54 years old at the time of the disaster, was one of the rescuers. 23 years after the wreck in 1869, Cook talked about it to a visitor from Trenton staying at his home. The visitor made a record of the reminiscences as follows. The most fearful storm I ever witnessed was that February 14th of 1846. I was awakened at 4 o'clock in the morning by the shaking of my bed as it threatened to blow the house from its foundations. While the storm was at its height, about 9 o'clock in the morning, we saw just offshore, through the spray and sleet, the John Minturn, an American brig with all her sails swept away, drifting to the southward and approaching shore. She struck to the south, and about an hour later, where hundreds had gathered, knowing that nothing could be done to save the vessel. Those on board were not idle, though. After several attempts and failures, 2 sailors entered a boat with a rope and put off for shore. The current carried them so swiftly to the southward that they were compelled to cut the rope to save themselves from capsizing. They came safely ashore with the last boat and found it impossible to return. At 11 o'clock at night, with the storm still raging, the Minturn went to pieces. We could hear the wailing shrieks that went up from the despairing ones as the sea, at last, caught them in a merciless embrace. The cold was so intense, when the bodies came to shore, many were found frozen as rigidly as statues, and quite a number, I recollect, struck the beach in a sitting position, and thus we saw dead men sitting as upright as in life as we drew them out of the way of the waves. When day broke again, we saw the bow of the boat still remained intact, and a group still huddled together upon it. One mother could be seen with her babe clasped to her breast, her hair streaming in the wind, and her white face turned upward in prayer, appealing to Him who ruled and ruled above the war of the elements. When this section broke up, it was found that every one of the group had been dead for many hours. There were less than 50 upon the break, of whom 36 perished. The body of one man washed ashore 15 miles down the coast and was brought to Point Pleasant by a fisherman in his wagon. In a belt around his waist, it was found to be $1,500 in gold, which is given to his brother in Philadelphia who came after the body. In our own little church, I saw one time 42 bodies with their pale faces and staring eyes that looked so lifelike that it was hard to believe them dead. The inquest was held, and being in the dead of winter, we were able to keep the bodies. Most of them were claimed. Others were buried in our own churchyard. This is Bill Honachevsky, and thank you for watching. Remember to preserve and protect our history and natural environment.